This is Straight Talk with it. I love you, Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, and Ronald Allen today. We don't have Bishop Tape today. He's somewhere, trying to get some numbers. He's somewhere getting some numbers.
He on the hunt for them.
And I want to thank Deacon Jimerson last week for being a part of the program. It was really
fantastic
to have him as part of the program. And Shannon and I are going to be doing something a little later on in the program, so he'll be returning back via whatever. But Shannon, again, is a very intelligent young man. And and I always commend him with this. His mother and dad's getting up in years, and he is seeing about his parents, and he's having to do a lot of different things, but he's not going anywhere. He'll come back talking about the contract dispute and all of that. But he pays to be on the program. He pays to be on the program. Maybe I might need to say he ain't paid his fair share to be on the program. Well, Ron, listen, with all the stuff that's going on and Donald Trump and stuff that's going on, and look like he's losing ground. And then he says they're taking his name off of the Kennedy Center. So you can't put your name on the Kennedy Center. I think about Hartsfield and Jackson Airport. Well, that was a vote to put Hartsfield and put Jackson's name on the airport with Hartsfield, right? Mm-hmm. So then they said, no, that's an act of Congress. Congress has to agree to put your name on that, but you can't just do it because you want to do it because you're the president. See, this is the thing a lot of people forget. When you're in business is one thing, but when you get in government, the rules of government are different. Then you got your own business, you call your own rules, your own shot. But this is government. It's government, other people, by other people, for other people. And there are branches of government that has authority over other branches of government. You don't have total authority just because you're the president. Well, anyway, he's figuring, I think he's kind of, maybe not figuring it out because he don't really care, because he said, I don't care, no way. And then when they say he couldn't get almost $2 billion, and then he said, well, I don't care, no way. And then somebody asked him, you're not concerned about I don't care. With that kind of attitude, let him know he didn't care about the people. He didn't care about the people. He didn't really care about the country. He only cares about himself and enriching himself and his family and his friends. With that, Ron, I'm going to let you take it, my friend.
And it's important, while we do celebrate these checks on his power, there's still some important decisions coming up. Congress has been trying to pass a war powers resolution for the past 2 months to limit the president's ability to keep us in this foreign war with Iran without any congressional sanctioning or declaration of war. We're past the 60-day threshold. They were talking about changing the name of the conflict to reset the 60 days. So there are still additional policies and resolutions that we need Congress to be very active on to continue to put this president in his place. His poll numbers are very low. He's reaping the results of his selfish and ridiculous policies, like the tariffs, again, which were illegally sanctioned, as Congress has power to issue tariffs, not the president. So we're grateful that Congress found its post. We're grateful that there are some members in our Congress and the House of Representatives and the Senate who still have the American people and what's best for the American people at heart. But let's do something different than feel that this is changing the nature and tenor of the administration. He is still going down that track of authoritarianism, of dictatorship. He is still going down that track of kleptocracy, as you mentioned, about his sons owning the companies that he continues to promote through policy, through foreign policy, domestic policy. He is bringing in the companies that he invests in or outright own, or members of his family. And these are the companies that he is using to implement policy. So he's continued to double dip. He's getting paid coming and going from his own administration. So we're going to have to continue to remain vigilant, Bishop, because this is one small battle that's won, but this war will continue on.
You know, you're talking about policy. He's not a policy maker. He is an executive. He implements policy that is already established policy. He makes sure that the policy that has been voted on is implemented. He does not create policies. It's not his company. America is not his company. America is not his company. You know, if we continue to go down the road and let him make America his company, we will have failed like a lot of his business ventures, right? I mean, so everything that he's touched, everything that he's had, it has failed. It has failed. It has failed. It has failed. He's just a celebrity. He's just a big mouth. He's just somebody that spout out these things. And let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be clear. You dig a ditch for somebody else, you're falling yourself, right? And those people who have enabled him, all the people who have enabled him, all of them have fallen in ditches. Pam Bonnet, the most recent one, right? All of them have fallen in ditches. Michael Cohen, right? Stone. Yeah, I mean, we can go on and on and on and on and on. He's like the Teflon man. He's trying to create this thing that, since I'm all powerful, I'm God. I mean, in a sense, he said, I'm God. I'm untouchable. I'm untouchable. Well, Al Capone thought he was untouchable until one day he met a man by the name of Elliot Ness, right? So, I mean, so no one is untouchable and no one is above the law. And I think Mr. Trump is going to find out later that he's not above the law. And those people who who's enabling him, who's supporting him, like Blanche. Now, Clyde Blanche, his personal attorney, who's now the acting attorney general, who he's mad with because he's losing everything that he's going at to try to help Trump be successful in the things that he's trying to do. And even the young man they shipped, to a foreign country, they overrode that. I can't remember his name, and his name escaped me. Right. But they overturned that. Everything, but the sad part about it is that people have to suffer these things before they're remedied. And I'm sad to say is that the court system is so slow in terms of doing things, but it never ceases to amaze me that the emergency power, that whatever he wants to do or be heard in the Supreme Court, they can have an emergency session on those issues when there are other issues that's being delayed because of the issues that he's bringing forth. But all this stuff is to hide the Epstein case. Let's just be clear.
I'm so glad you brought up the Trump-Epstein files, the big stinking foul-smelling elephant that continues to really put all of our values and collective morality in the vice grip. It's amazing when you think about the QAnon conspiracy theory, and they said that the world is run by a group of pedophiles, and everybody hears that and they say, oh, that's so crazy, you can't believe these conspiracy theories. But look at the heads of state that have been named in the Epstein files. These are all government officials. These are all corporate leaders. These are all the heads of universities and top industries. And so there is a cabal, or it seems to be an interconnected network of top 1%ers, be they in politics, be they in religion, be they in education, transportation, media, whatever. And they have engaged in these acts of pedophilia, child trafficking, and sex crimes against young people, and they run the world. So we have to suspend our disbelief as everyday citizens and really look at what's staring us in the face. Because you bring up the most important point, Bishop. Even with checks and balances, even if they do work in the end and Donald Trump receives some form of comeuppance, he is still transformed and changed the lives of millions of people. Renee Good still lost her life in Minneapolis as an extension of the ICE activities that he sanctioned and funded. So whereas we do want to get a grip on his authoritarianism and his ability to execute policy as a strong man, we do need to be very urgent about that, because people are having their lives taken from them, having their lives displaced, having their communities disrupted in a number of ways every day.
But one thing that he said, and I mean, it's like, wow, this man, he just say anything. He said he don't care about the midterms. The midterms don't mean anything to him. He doesn't care. Because I'm going to do what I'm going to do anyway. And y'all, it's like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Then y'all catch me. Because I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Catch me if you can.
If you can. Because I'm going to do what I want to do. And it's sad that we have come to this point, but the Bible said these things were going to come to pass. They're going to have these wicked leaders and, the nations and all these things that we see that's taking place. It's in the Word of God. And we have to believe God, because God is still yet in control. But we have to be wise enough to see what's going on and understand what's going on, to be prepared and to prepare ourselves for how we will deal with it. But Ron, I really believe this, is that I don't care what the enemy try to do, God is going to take care of the righteous. He said the righteous will never be forsaken, nor their seed beg for bread. So those who are greedy, those that are selfish, those that are envious, those that are hateful, those that are angry, all those people who have the attributes of Satan, they are the ones that really are worried, because they're the ones that's losing and missing out. Because God is sitting high and looking down low, and he's going to punish the wickedness of those who are wicked in this time and in this dispensation. So, but I do want to share a thought, just a thought. I'm going to let me do a thought here. We have, and this is about voting. We've been talking about that, and Tate talked about how many people were in Mississippi and in Georgia that did not vote. Georgia, I think it's something like 1 million people
million plus
that did not vote in Georgia in the election. And I always tell people this is a concept. If you leave money in my pocket, I ain't worried. You put money in my pocket, I'm definitely happy. But if you take money out, I got a problem.
We fight.
Yeah. So now we're in a position where is that money is being taken out of our pocket. And I was talking to Reverend T. Mack today about that, because I was saying, he was saying it's a shame that I'm getting my Social Security money and they taxing my Social Security money. They tax it going in and they tax it going out. I mean, so they double dipping on us, right? So it's a shame, because we study being taxed and then retaxed for what we already been taxed on.
That's right.
So I mean, so it's really a shame how we're being treated and dealt with. So the whole system is meant for the rich and the wealthy to continue to be rich and wealthy, and for the poor to be poor. But the Bible just says you'll have poor, which always declared the word of God. But we have to be wise, though, and understand and see what's really, really, really going on with our voting, and why we're not voting, and why people on the roads to vote but won't go to the polls and vote. I mean, really, just think about it. They now have gutted the Fifth Amendment, right? Mm-hmm. Then now they've done the Second Amendment in terms of your voting rights, in terms of the gerrymandering, getting an opportunity to gerrymander, to eliminate people from voting. But I think they have a problem, Rondo. I was thinking about that. I've been looking at the map and thinking about that. I think I have a problem, because you have more blacks in the South, and there's always been in the South. So how you going to really just cut out blacks from voting, even drawing those lines? Because some of those lines, you're going to still have a majority of blacks in there, no matter how you draw them.
You will. The strategy, as opposed to eliminating, because sometimes you play, like, use a sports analogy. Sometimes you come up against a guy that's just apps or a girl, and they're just dominating at the sport.
Okay.
You can't stop them. But what you can do is try to contain them. And you can try to shift the margins that, even with their dominating performance, how can we balance out other areas of the game so that we still come out with the victory? Mm-hmm. And in the South, this is what Republicans have been genius at doing since Reconstruction, because after emancipation, we had even a greater concentration of Black Americans in the Southeast United States. In fact, during Reconstruction, South Carolina had a majority black state government.
True.
And as the Great Migration and other migration efforts have evolved since emancipation, the black concentration in the Southeast has diluted a little bit, and we have blacks now in the West and in Northeast and Northwest and all throughout the country, but we still have the masses of our population here in the Southeast. Well, this is where the GOP have concentrated their leadership in maintaining power over state governments. I think overlooking state and local governments has been a near death knell of a fallacy for the Democratic Party, as we are seeing that elections are held all at the state level, at the county level, departments of education. As the federal government continue to disband the Department of Education, education is going to be at the state level. Healthcare is going to be at the state level. And so when you have the majority of the ex-Confederate states, all with Republican governors and all with Republican-led state houses, even if they are unable to eliminate the black vote as a concentrated vote, because again, we got to give black people credit as the one racial group that votes as a near unanimous block. Mm-hmm. And we have been effective at doing that for a number of election cycles. So you can't stop us from voting, but by redrawing the lines, it dilutes the margins enough that even if you still have a majority black county, you may not be able to get to the 50% threshold. You put it in a runoff. You continue to add more and more variables and make people have to go to the polls 2-3 times even before they can prevail. That increases the chances that voter turnout is going to be less, that you can find ways to continue to contain the message about voting and the message about these candidates. And so this has been a very effective maneuvering. And I keep asking week after week, well, what do Democrats do as a counter maneuver and an agenda to promote the interests of our voters? We know what the GOP does. They came out with a mid-decade redistricting program nationwide now. They are redistricting in the Ohio River Valley. They're doing it in the South. They're doing it in the West. They're doing it in the Northeast. In every state that Republicans control, if they're not redistricting, they're talking about will they do it. So it is a national agenda for them. What's the national agenda for the Democratic Party at the state level? To make sure that the state votes of their constituencies are protected and the reach of those votes are expanded. We still hear very little proactively from the Democratic Party at the state level here in states like Georgia about what is our agenda and how do we counter these maneuvers to expand the reach of our interests.
Well, I think one of the things is that we have too many candidates running to a point that you said. You got 4-5 people running in one race. And it throws you into automatic runoff. It's going to automatically be a runoff. There are very slim chances that with 3 people or more in the race, that one person going to prevail to get the 50 plus 1, right? There's very slim chances. And then we keep falling for the okie doke because we keep running in races we cannot win, will not win. But we're in the race because we feel that we can win, but we know in theory that we can't, because when you start going to your supporters or going to people who can give you monies to run a campaign, then that's another issue. We don't put monies in campaign. We don't. That's why they go to those big funders, because big funders put money in campaign. But when they go to the big funders and the big funders don't give them any money, and we're not giving them any money, then they should understand is that in no sense of me trying to run, I don't have the kind of money to run a campaign. I give you a prime example. Bert Johnson and Richard Jackson, they got monies. I mean, Jackson has more than Bert because he's on TV
Sure is.
every 5 seconds almost. But that show you, and that's just the TV. That's not social media. That's not YouTube or
The ground
Instagram or
campaign, canvases, knocking doors, all that.
all of that. But he has the money to run a statewide campaign, even to your local politician, the local politician. People run, they think, well, I get me some yard signs, I'll be all right. I get my cousin a few of them to help knock on those, I'll be all right. No, it is your messaging, but it's also having the financial wherewithal to be able to get your message out there. Because most people work. They don't they look at what comes on TV because that's what comes. Now young people, they're in social media, so they ain't looking at TV, they ain't looking at the news. They doing their own podcasts and Facebooks and Instagrams and Twitters and all those type of things on the social media scene. So there's a lot of components. It used to be a time you could do robocalls and you could call in the homes and stuff like that. That way of campaign is almost obsolete. So when people think about running, you got to think of a budget to be able to run an effective campaign. I don't care if you're running for city council. I don't care if you're running for commissioner. I don't care if you're running for state house district, whatever district it is. It takes money to get your message out there. And it's not just a few of your sorors or your fraternity brothers or your Masonic Lodge brothers or your church members or your family members that's going to be able to get you across that threshold to win, because you got to have really an outreach. And this is what we did. So when you talking about counting up, I'm going to run for office, count up what it's going to take financially to run for office. Not your good looks, not your homeboy who been your friend or homegirl been your friend all his life and never ran the campaign. You got to have signs, all that other kind of stuff that they do that you see on the surface. But there's a lot of stuff underground that you have to be doing to work to win campaign. And as technically as it is now, and people having all these debates, and then you asking at a political forum, they ask you a question, well, what is your platform? Well, I'm running now because I see what's going on. What do you see? Well, I see what I see. Well, what do you see? Well, I see what I see. That's what I see. I'm telling you what I see. Well, you see, you don't have a seat, so you can sit down over there because you're never going to be elected because you don't even have a platform, a real platform, a platform that's going to resonate to people. So when we talk about even our program here, and when we're doing what we're doing, what we have to be able to do is to give you a platform or message that you would even want to watch the program and that you would even want to share the program, to give you information so you can pass information on to others about what's really going on. That's what we seek to do with this program.
Booker T. Washington had a very interesting philosophy about politics that I think we need to revisit as a community, because a lot of the issues and concerns and even limitations that the Black community are facing politically kind of counter and turn us back to his philosophy of really developing an economic base first. If you can pull your economics as a community and control the dollars of your community and have your community provide its own clothing, provide its own food, provide its own welfare and education, then you have fortified your community to the degree in which you can move into the general mainstream politics and begin to work as a united force. But the Black community is so stratified today and separate. The top 10% of the Black community live separately from the working class and middle class. 90% of the Black community desegregation.
Is there a middle class?
The remaining middle class.
But is there truly a remaining middle class? If you just really look at it, you're not going to do a little debate now.
Let's get it.
Is there really a middle class? We'll be back after this. And I want to ask you a question. Is there really a middle class now? We'll be back after this commercial message. Hey, do you know where your children are? And listen, lock up them guns.
Hi, I'm Miss C with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. Listen, Liberty International Church Door Pope Ministries celebrates dads during their Father's Day service on June 21st from 10 to 11 a.m. You can enjoy this service in the sanctuary at 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta, or live streaming on Facebook or YouTube. Letiska Roddy is pastor. Bishop Greg Fan, the preacher man, is overseer. WYZE presents the Catch on Fire Revival June 11th and 12th, 7:30 p.m. at Faith Memorial Church, 1676 Old Rex Morrow Road in Morrow, Georgia. The June 11th guest speaker will be Minister-elect Jay Beckett of Restoring Life Center, and on June 12th, Pastor Lonnie Kelly of Camp Springs Baptist Church will bring a word. Bishop Ray Neal is pastor. Call 404-702-7624 to get more details. The 46th Annual Holy Convocation of the United Churches of God in Christ will convene on July 21st through the 24th at Temple of Prayer Family Worship Cathedral, 161 Sonoya Road in Fairburn, Georgia. This 5-day power-packed gathering will be hosted by the United Church of God in Christ and will feature dynamic speakers, worship leaders, and artists. I had to get a little closer. Anyway, listen, if you have an event you'd like for us to announce, just email it to us at 1362. I had just a mental block there. Email it to us at 1362. I'm sorry. I'm having all kind of senior moments. Email it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And we'll be happy to announce it for you. Okay. Now listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do. And that is to subscribe. I'd like for you to also to like us. And those little buttons appear right there on the front of the screen. And number 3, I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. And number 4, share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself, okay? And listen, I wrote this down today. It says, give away a smile. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. And it might just make someone's day, okay? Do it for me. Do it for yourself. Do it for them. Okay, see you next time. Bye now.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
This is Straight Talk with it. I love you, Greg Fan, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the...
I'm a different kind of threat. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. You can't call the cops on me.
Do you still want to hang out after?
I don't want your money. Or your TV. I don't even have to break in. I'm invited.
Greg Fan, the preacher man. Let me fix my headphone hat. There we go, preacher man. You look like the preacher man, Greg Fan. You know, there's so much going on in our community, Ron. I think that there's so much to talk about, you know, and one is thank God that so they finally had the sense to tell Donald Trump, take your name off of the Kennedy Center. They're not going to get the almost $2 billion and some other things that the court has decided that, and even the Congress has decided we're not going along with this food. Some of the senators going saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. And now the gas price is going back up because Kemp did not extend the tax thing. So now gas is going up, and Donald Trump said he doesn't care. He said he don't care. I mean, really, he literally said out his mouth that he did not care.
Well, he represents the top 1%. With gas prices going up, inflation going up, what's amazing is that BP, they got record profits this first quarter. Who are the other gas, petroleum companies? ExxonMobil. They got record profits. So Trump is still being accountable to the people who got him in office, the billionaires. He throws a bone to the Proud Boys and these crazy militia groups to keep the power base on the ground in his favor. We have seen the Congress do a little bit of checks and balances. The budget, Bishop, is going to be the major issue. Will he get that $1.5 trillion budget? A budget he stood up and said that as a federal government, we lack the resources to fund daycare, healthcare, Head Start, healthcare, education. He said that the priority is protecting the country militarily. So he's putting all of our money, $1.5 trillion for fiscal year 2027, into the Pentagon budget, a department that's never passed an audit. They triple and double deal all the time on these government contracts. And this is where the money going, Bishop. So we appreciate his name off the Kennedy Center. We appreciate the slush fund being, he said he was going to drain the swamp. The only thing got drained was his slush fund, but we got to defeat that budget as well.
Well, let's talk about the money going to the military.
Yeah.
And certainly we want our military people to be paid. We want them to be well compensated for what they're doing to protect this country.
That's right.
We do. But we got to look at this. His sons have started this company where they're selling drones. They're selling drones to the military. And there are certain things, see, this is what I don't understand. There are certain things that have been said about deals and stuff that Trump has maneuvered and seen the business over to his sons to make billions and billions of dollars off of him being in office. But we were so bad on Hunter Biden. So bad on Hunter Biden. Man, I tell you. And now the Trump boys just cleaning up. And don't forget Jared Kushner, his son-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Jared Kushner.
Kushner.
Yeah, Jared Kushner just getting all this money. I mean, and we're sitting back and we're saying, man, food prices high, groceries high, we can't pay our mortgage, we got a car that we can't drive because we can't put gas in it, but yet we still have a car note, we still have a mortgage, we can't pay our rent, we can't get decent health care. I mean, all the things that the American dream is gone. The American dream is gone in terms of the dream of being successful. You were told, go to school, get a good college education, get a good education, you can do well in America. You can do well in America. And everything that we were promised is now being pulled away from us.
Well, that's always been the plight of the everyday American, despite the hullabaloo of the American dream.
Did you call it the hullabaloo?
Hullabaloo. Oh, yeah.
Hullabaloo. Okay.
Anywhere you go in the world and represent America, people come and talk about that American dream. But we understand as native-born sons and daughters of this country, the systems that are in place that largely get people trapped in certain tracks, depending on where you're born, who you're born to, and what groups that you become affiliated with as you continue to mature. So the American dream is a great brochure. It's a great attractant to get people to come to America, to believe in America. But as Americans living in this society, being underpaid, overworked, and exploited, we have to pay our taxes. Tax season just expired, a little bit, April 15th, a little bit over a month ago. And we see that the government is so invested only in the top 1%. So we're building the coalitions here in Atlanta through the faith system and community collaborations to give power back to the people. But we need to see that ethic replicated all throughout Georgia, all throughout the United States, because we have to come up with an alternative to this system, Bishop?
Well, that was Pastor Drains calling me, but I'll get back with him. They call it in. They call it in. You know, they call in.
Pretty soon we're going to take that call.
Yeah, pretty soon we got to take that call. But listen, let me just say this. You said a couple of things that I want to go back and just kind of deal with and address. One, you called the American Dream a hullabaloo, and then you said these brochures and all this thing, we bring people over in this country, we promise them all these things, but now we're running them out of the country. Okay, the Statue of Liberty. Now we're running them out of the country, right? The other thing that you said that I truly agree with, and I think most American people, if they're honest to say, is that there are people today that's working 2 jobs. And even some people have.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Van at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Van, the Preacher Man.